Welcome guys, Lornic96 here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys another figure review. So, sorry for my long, again, hiatus, or just big break. This time I actually have an excuse for the reason I wasn't making any updates to my collection update. And the whole reason I haven't been doing that lately is because I just recently got a camera. Well, actually, I got it in Christmas, but some school stuff happened, and I just haven't had a lot of time to record things, but now I have a lot more free time, so I figured it's been long enough. I don't want to excuse this collection update any longer, and I bet some of you guys have been wanting to see some of my personal view on some of these figures, so yeah, I'm going to give you guys these reviews now, so you don't have to wait any longer. So the last guy I left off with is I did Arabunta, so today I'm going to be doing Gimira from Ultraman 80. And I don't really have a roar for this guy because it's basically Vakashim's roar, like sped up or something like that, so yeah, no roar for this guy, but if you find other reviews, they might have a roar of him. I think Goji73 has one, and if you're lucky enough to find a battle, then there's the roar, but it's nothing too awesome, so whatever. Anyway, I'm just gonna do his history very quickly. I haven't really seen his history because it's from Ultraman 80, which isn't a big show. There hasn't been much footage of it other than really crappy quality, but you never know. Someone might post a video of Gimira and such from his episodes. So he appeared in Ultraman 80, as I said, and he was one of the more well-known monsters from that series, I guess, because he actually appeared in a two-parter. And throughout the whole, the whole episodes in general involved the team of Ultraman 80 going to an island and finding, like, these tourists getting, having these bite marks on them, and just the tourists acting weird. And then eventually they found monsters which were acting weird, and they came across this guy eventually. And it all comes down to eventually them finding out that this guy is actually controlling everything, and he's some sort of vampire-ish monster, and doesn't come out very much, or something like that. So he ends up taking control of two monsters, and those monsters are called Raburus and Daron, or something like that. And Daron's like this weird tentacle thing, and Raburus is basically a different Salamandora. It's like basically Salamandora, but kind of ugly looking. You can just look it up. Just look a picture of him and you'll see what I mean. And you end up finding out one of these monsters, Raburus, is like connected to this female, and she tries to use the monster against them. Well, they both do, but they end up getting defeated by this guy, and all this other stuff happens. But eventually, Raburus gets killed by Gimira through a big battle, and then 80 takes revenge for Raburus and ends up just destroying Gimira. And, yeah, that's all his history. He hasn't appeared in anything else because he's cursed with the one-time show. But, if you read the full detail of the episodes and you hear about this guy, he actually has a really cool, backstory. Because, I mean, there's not many vampire-like monsters that can control people and whatnot. I think that's pretty cool, if you ask me. So, yeah, that's all of his history. So yeah, let's just dive right into this guy himself. So I guess we'll just start off with details, I normally do. Now, detail on this guy is pretty decent, I'd say. I mean, it's nothing, like, incredibly awesome because it's a much older figure. He was, like, released in 1989, I believe. I think I remember that from his bottom of the foot. And this guy has not been reissued. I'll just say that right now. This guy is rare, so yeah, he hasn't been remade at all, which is kind of unfortunate because if you ask me, he's a lot cooler than some other monsters that have been given figures, like updated versions. But anyway, this is what his detail looks like in general. I mean, the only real like detail is on his chest right here, which is just like lines and such, grooves, scales, like armor chest or whatnot. And then you got his nice face right there. And you got his spines, which actually are a little inaccurate because if you actually look at the suit, which you can just find pictures of. His scales and spikes and whatnot are a lot bigger and just larger and just look a lot more menacing than what they appear on here. Because I think what they did is they just, instead of making like a bunch of big sharp looking spikes, they just made a bunch of them just to kind of show the same appearance, but it makes them just look like a gigantic weird porcupine thing. So yeah, it's kind of weird, and I don't really like how they did it, but it works out in the end. I mean, you still get the big spikiness that this guy had, but it just looks kind of weird in some areas, I guess. I don't know, it's just a little nitpick of mine, but if you guys don't mind, it's fine. But I just think it's a little weird. It's a little inaccurate, but whatever. And now let's get to scaling. I know I'm skipping around. I usually do like articulation, but whatever. Alright, so let's just appear him up with his foe. Well, I don't actually have 80, so let's just use normal old Ultraman. Yeah, so this isn't accurate at all. It's another one of, like, you know, Ultra being too big, Monster being too small sort of thing. Because he's supposed to be up here. Because I know he was at least here, and he was probably up here. So, yeah. And this just gives off the image that Ultraman's too big. But he was also crouching, so yeah. It's just the monster's a little too small. Let me just compare him up to two Ultra monsters you guys might have. One being Bebular. And these guys can't fit in the camera. I don't really have a proper stand right now, so I'm just going to have to make do with these items I'm using right now, which are just DS cases. And Ella King. So yeah, if you do look, here I'll just like lean up a bit. That's how it looks with Bemular, you know, being all the way up top up here. But with Ella King, I think he looks pretty cool because Ella King is a little short for his size too, but Bemular is like really big compared to him, and they should be probably around the same height, if not Bemular a little taller. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. I mean, you can make like Gimira the ringleader or something like that. You know, tiny, powerful guy. Something like that. And finally, let's match him up with who else? Godzilla. Yeah, this looks a lot better than I'd say Bemular or Ultraman, but this still is a little inaccurate because, again, Gimira up here. You don't want to make him too short because he was a pretty big monster for his size. Not as big as Bemular or someone like that, but, you know. Still needs to be a little bit bigger. Alright, now let's get on to articulation, and just by looking at him, you probably already know what his points are. So his arms can move full 360. If you have one that's in a good state, because I know some figures probably, some of these figures don't have good movement because of their age. And his legs do move, but they do not move full 360 due to the fact that of all of these spikes. So, yeah, you're just going to get limited movement, but you should get enough, like mine does, to be able to, like, do some stop motion or whatnot if you want to do that. So, yeah, the legs are, like, half points, and the head does not move at all, even though he does have a massive seam going across his neck, and no tail movement at all. So he is like 4 points. These two being a little kind of bad flawed, I guess. So yeah, just 4 points with that. And finally, let's just get to his paint job. And paint job is also a little weird on this guy, but if you ask me, it's the best one you're gonna get of this figure because this guy has only been like issued a couple times, maybe like 4 times, but they're all around the same area, so. But of all of the releases, this is the most accurate you can get, because all the other ones are like gray, green, all these ugly colors mixed up that does not make any sense, seeing that this guy was blue, like a really dark navy blue, this color right here, but If you ask me, he was a lot darker in a lot of areas, such as the face and here, but I think it gives off a nice highlight to really make the figure look a little more colorful. So, I mean, the only spot that looks weird is right here because it's just a massive light blue seam going across there, but otherwise, I think this coloring works for the figure. I just think his chest should be a little lighter. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be as dark as this. It should be a little bit more blue on it because he didn't have a really gray belly. Just mixed belly and body together. Right for my grammar errors. But whatever. So, yeah, I think his coloring's fine. It's good enough. As I said, it's the best you're gonna get. The only one that's kind of close is one that's like all dark blue, but it's everything, including like the mouth and the horns. So, yeah, just pick this version up if you can find one. And I feel bad for those who can't, but I just say keep looking if you really want this guy for this version. And yeah, that's this guy in a nutshell. Well, I don't know why I always say nutshell. That's this guy's review. So his detail's pretty good. Well, I don't know. His detail's okay. Because it's an old figure, so I guess I can give it that pass, but some of the spots look kind of dull, and I didn't really mention it, but these spikes are not sharp at all. I kind of said they're not sharp looking, but they're not sharp anyway, so they're just like really bumpy. But anyway, this figure, yeah, I think he needs to have a little bit more detail, but since he's an old figure, you can pass it a little bit, but that's why I'm saying they should reissue this guy, because honestly, I think he's like one of the really cool 80 monsters. And his articulation's okay, 4 points, whatever. You can work with it. It's not terrible. His sizing's it's okay too. I mean, with some monsters such as Ella King and Godzilla, it looks fine, but with Ultraman and Bangmiller, it looks a little weird. And his paint job's also his paint job's fine. I think it's pretty good because it's the best you're gonna get out of all of the ones they've issued, and I think the highlights actually add some flavor to this guy and make him a little bit more outstanding, because I like the color blue, and I think the color blue that they actually did give him looks pretty nice. So yeah, all in all, I'm just gonna give him a 4 out of 5, I'd say, because I think this is a good figure. It's not the best, but I personally like him enough to say that I would recommend this guy if you can find him and if you like him. If you like his history and whatnot, because he is an interesting monster. He does not have that typical alien owning a monster sort of story, or like a monster coming out of nowhere being like radioactive or whatnot. Something stupid that hasn't been reused a million times. He actually has a cool history. But as I said before, this guy is really rare, so if you guys can find him for a cheap price, I definitely recommend picking this guy up, as I said, if you like him enough. But otherwise, I don't know. It's totally up to you guys. I think you should get him if you like him. Try to look for him, but if you don't, then just pass, because he doesn't have anything special going for him. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. It's pretty nice to come back to this. Hopefully this quality also looks a lot better, because I really wanted to get better quality, because I hated the lighting and all that crap on my other reviews. So yeah, I guess I'll just see you guys later, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Alright, see ya.